we see this whole MGTOW movement. Now, I do not endorse any extreme group of ideology or philosophy, especially when it has to do with generalizations of society or of people. I don't even truly believe in the feminist movement as it's come to be in the last 30, 40 years.
Automatically, when I hear somebody say, whether it be male or female, that you don't agree with what feminism has come to be in the last 20, 30, or whatever, even 40 years, when they say or make a statement such as that, automatically, for me, this person doesn't even have a clue on what they're talking about, because they haven't really even studied what feminism has always been. White feather movement, anyone? You know, where they used to shame kids, boys, 14, 15 years old, hand them a white feather. Come on, guys, you got to go to war. Yeah, they went to war and they died. Male boys. Feminism's always been poison.
When it comes to MGTOW, definitely talking about the extremists. They are just as... Now, any extremist group is very destructive, so let's take them out of the picture. They're just malignants, and half of them are probably narcissists themselves. I want to talk about the decent men, the good men, that end up joining this groupthink, that end up becoming MGTOWs, that decide that they're not going to be around women anymore, that women are destructive, and they have labeled all women based on their individual experience with usually one or maybe two women in their life.
Men don't go MGTOW because of some experience they had with one or two females. Men are going their own way because of multiple reasons. That could be one of them. It could be because most females are like that. It could be because all females are like that. That's where we get the acronym AWOL. All women are like that. And that is still not the only reason, or these reasons aren't still the only reasons. You even have legislation. Smart men go MGTOW. Wise men go MGTOW. And you have other men that might be MGTOW for now, in the sense where they are learning, they are wisening up. These kids, they're very smart, they're switched on. These men are untouchable, and they will be much more intellectual than your normal man that either hates MGTOW, doesn't like MGTOW, or doesn't even know about MGTOW. So to say that these men have gone their own way because of one or two females that they have or may have had a bad experience with, it's really wrong to say that, because most females I personally have met myself are like that.
It takes a lot of insight and emotional strength to be able to admit to abuse by a female and really work towards recovery and reaching out to other people. Okay. And it's not to come down on men who aren't able to do that, because it's no wonder they're not. I think that it's pretty much set up that way, and men are provoked into being ashamed to admit it.
Yes, it does take a lot of strength by men to admit abuse from females, or by females towards men. But here you are shaming men who are MGTOW by stating that 50% of MGTOW are narcissists within this same video that you've presented to the people.
So this is how MGTOW, I believe, as a very large groupthink or ideology, has started. I think, again, take the extremists out. I think that a lot of good, decent, kind-hearted, empathetic men had a bad experience with a narcissist or a sociopath, like woman, were abused, and instead of admitting to themselves even, or even finding the education, but really admitting to themselves that this woman, this one experience, this woman was abusive, and this was particular to your marriage or that woman, they instead found it much more easier and less emasculating to say this is all women. All women are like this.
All women are like this, and you're evidence of that. Us MGTOW men realize more than what you would like us to realize. One experience, two experiences with a female. Look around you and smell the coffee. Check out legislation. Check out statistics. And male suicide. MGTOW men are too smart for your game of manipulation or just plain ignorance. This sounds like a call to come back to the plantation, and if you want to call me an extremist, go right ahead. All I got to do is look on Facebook and see your females and your behaviors. Television, music clips, females initiating divorce, single mothers everywhere, alimony rip-offs.
The picture they paint, I've watched a lot of the, oh God, I don't remember his name. Probably, I consciously don't remember his name. Sandman or whoever the guy is that makes all these videos and kind of maybe one of the founders of the MGTOW movement, I guess. A lot of what they describe about women is narcissistic women, borderline women. And yet, because they had those experiences in their life, instead of seeing it for what it is, an individualized case of abuse.
They're not individualized cases of abuse. Even on a one-to-one level, if you were to get all these men that are going their own way, this MGTOW brotherhood, this collective, every individual will tell you multiple stories of the abuse that they've experienced or they've seen other men experience. These days, it's just too risky to be with a female because you know as a man that if she calls the police and the police want to come to the house, and they will because it's a female that's calling, even if she lies through her teeth, the police are going to aid and side on with her. And if it was the male that was to call the police wouldn't give a shit whether he was abused or not. They'll just tell him to man up and piss off. So myself, I've been through experiences, more than two, more than three, four. Now this is the catch here. If you want to pinpoint some men and say, oh, they're good men, you know, they've experienced maybe one or two bad females or two bad experiences in their life. These men should carry on in their life. There's good women out there. Well, you'll call them good men. But if I was to tell you I've experienced so many different experiences with different females and they were all negative and they were all abusive, you're going to turn it around and say that I'm the one that's abusive, or maybe I'm the one that is, or that has a problem that looks for abusive women. So this is a very sticky subject in the sense where you can actually get a man trapped with the way that you're speaking. So don't think for 1 minute you can fool us. Like I said early on, this is either manipulation or just plain ignorance on your part.
They now label all women to have those characteristics. And I think that as much as I do not necessarily agree with the MGTOW movement, again, I don't agree with the feminist movement either. I think that any one group or ideology that gives a blanket statement on another group of people is incredibly dangerous and always ends up losing any of its positive attributes that it started with, and it turns negative, and it turns into a group run by narcissists and self-centered people. That's what feminism became, essentially.
A lot of men, for some reason, like to hear another female say that I don't agree with feminism. And a lot of men, when they hear that come out of a female, that she doesn't agree with feminism, and feminism is, I'll even say that hypothetically a female was saying that feminism is a hate movement. A lot of men pop their antennas up and are like, whoa, she's saying something interesting. Then for that female to turn around and say immediately after saying that, saying something like, MGTOW is, you know, it's like feminism. No. MGTOW is nothing like feminism at all. Nothing like feminism. On the contrary, MGTOW, for myself now, let's speak on an individual level, a one-to-one, one man to another man level. You see, you're not a man, you'll never understand. For me, MGTOW is a brotherhood. There are the most beautiful men out there that have gone their own way. They have helped me survive and live, actually breathe through some of the hardest, most traumatic experiences that I'll ever go through in my entire life. And I have them to thank, these men, this brotherhood, to thank for my own survival. At the same time, to say that these men or this MGTOW collective is like feminism, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't cut it. MGTOW is nothing. I actually find that offensive. Why? Because it is like comparing not only apples to oranges. I wouldn't even say two fruits. It would be completely different things. Alien and human, completely different.
And as much as I don't necessarily support the MGTOW movement and ideology, I also, and groupthink especially, I also understand why some of these men ended up there. Because there's just not the support and not the validation and the information. So
MGTOW is a male support group. That's why we end up here. Some of us anyway. Some of us are just intellectuals. That's why we go our own way. We understand multiple factors on why it's actually better to go your own way. We don't need your validation either, nor female validation, nor government validation. That's all I've got to say.
okay, I just want to put that out there when we talk about female narcissists, and this is kind of more geared towards men, and acknowledging that this maybe double standard or hypocrisy exists, and I want to kindly encourage all men that have been in a toxic relationship with a woman who treated them horribly to rethink your notion that because one woman did it to you, this is how all women are.
It's one of the dumbest things that I hear a lot of females say. If one woman did it to you, that's how all females are. All it takes is for one woman, and it could actually be the next woman to do it for you or to do it to you. Because if you have any kids by her or any assets, property, whatever, and she actually chooses to do that to you, she will screw the fucking living daylights out of you. So why even take the risk? Why bother? Like I said, men going their own way are intellectuals. That's why we go our own way. We understand the game. And I understand you're a female. You have your biological urges. So we understand that as well. And obviously, it's not something that you would like for men to actually turn their backs and walk away from you. If anything, you should be encouraging men to go their own way, because you know legislation is purely against men. MGTOW should be encouraged by females like yourself to men. So you should actually be promoting this.
I want to encourage you to see it for what it really is, which it was an evil woman. It was a disordered woman who was selfish and pathological and who abused you. And if you can get to a place of reality, this is my last point, on my concept of philosophy of therapy. If you can get to a place of reality within your therapy model, recovery model, it doesn't have to be with a therapist, just whatever healing modality that you take on, either be by yourself, with a healthcare provider, with a life coach, with friends, with whomever, whatever modality or modalities that you employ to become a more healed person and a more enlightened person and self-aware person, if you can stick to reality, you'll be successful.
Well, in that case, I will be sticking to the MGTOW lifestyle. So thank you for that, because I stick to reality and I see it for what it is.